Africa is often introduced to the world as a continent that began with poverty, conflict, and colonial rescue. But that version of Africa is incomplete and dangerously misleading. Because long before colonization, long before European contact, Africa was already shaping civilization. This is the Africa they never taught you in school. Historians such as Cheikh Anta Diop and UNESCO's General History of Africa project confirm that ancient Africa was home to some of the earliest organized societies on Earth. The Nile Valley civilizations, including Kemet, ancient Egypt, and Nubia, were African civilizations, culturally, linguistically, and geographically. These societies developed advanced mathematics, medicine, astronomy, architecture, and written language thousands of years before Europe entered recorded history. The Rind mathematical papyrus shows African use of algebra and geometry as early as 1650 BCE. Medical texts like the Edwin Smith Papyrus reveal surgical knowledge still admired today. Africa did not borrow civilization. Africa contributed to it. Yet school textbooks often detach Egypt from Africa, a practice criticized by historians like Martin Bernal in Black Athena, creating the illusion that Africa existed outside intellectual history. Move west, and you encounter empires that controlled global trade. The Mali Empire under Mansa Musa was so wealthy that his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 caused inflation across North Africa and the Middle East, a fact documented by Arab historians such as al-Umari. Timbuktu was not a myth. It was a center of learning, home to universities and libraries holding over 700,000 manuscripts, many of which still exist today. The Songhai Empire, the Kingdom of Benin, Great Zimbabwe, and Ethiopia's Aksumite Empire all had complex governance systems, standing armies, trade networks, and diplomatic relations with Europe and Asia. So why were we not taught this? According to Walter Rodney in How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, colonial education systems were designed not to inform Africans, but to reshape how Africans saw themselves. History was rewritten to justify domination. African achievement was minimized. African agency was erased. Colonial narratives portrayed Africa as empty land waiting to be discovered. But archaeology, linguistics, and oral traditions prove otherwise. The damage of this distortion remains. When a people are taught they had no past, they struggle to imagine a future. Pan-African thinkers like Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and Frantz Fanon warned that political independence without historical truth would leave Africa mentally colonized. This is why reclaiming African history is not about nostalgia. It is about restoration. Africa is not underdeveloped by nature. Africa was disrupted economically, politically, and psychologically. And the first step toward African renewal is truth. Not the version written to serve empire, but the version supported by evidence, scholarship, and African voices. This is the Africa they never taught you in school. And this is the Africa the world is slowly being forced to remember.